Good afternoon, everybody. This is Caleb here with Indiana Weather Network. We are live here for this severe thunderstorm warning. There's been a couple other severe thunderstorm warnings across Indiana today. However, those storms have been pretty weak in nature and very short lived in nature. This one here, however, does have a significant wind gust report close to the Napanee area. Actually, sorry, closer to up north here near the Napanee area of 67 miles per hour. That is a measured wind gust here within this. Now, this warning tag here is warned for 60-mile-per-hour and penny-sized hail. This is up here in the US 33 corridor, just to the east of North Webster. So northern Whitley County here, and also up near the Ligonier area as well. So this is northwestern Allen County, southern Noble County, and northern Whitley County. Here for about 25 more minutes here until 4:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So your emergency alert systems went off in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Another reason why we're going live here. But Fort Wayne, Indiana, you guys are okay. You guys are actually not in the path of this storm. Likely have a few rumbles of thunder still hanging on from a thunderstorm in northern Adams County and one that is in eastern Paulding County, Ohio. But this storm here is actually the one in question just to the east of North Webster here. Again, we do have a confirmed measurement here of 67 miles per hour. That was near the Goshen area a little while ago. This storm has a history of producing some pretty strong wind gusts associated with it here, especially right in here. A microburst is likely ongoing here. Another reason why we're going live here. Couple other storm alerts asking where a couple of the other warnings were today. There's one in Wells County. Personally, I'm not really sure why that one was warned. And then there was one in eastern Allen County. We didn't go live for that one as the actual storm was in Paulding County by this point in time. The warning was issued, but the box did include Allen County for that one. This one here does have a history of producing some pretty strong wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. That is why we are live here. You can see a really nice gust front on it here as it's gusting out north of US 30. Kind of split in the middle between US 33 and US 30 here, just to the east of North Webster, coming into the Wolf Lake area, Merriam area as well. So if you know anybody on the lakes in this area, let them know. Wawasee, you guys are good. You guys are in the clear. If anybody's out on Lake Wawasee, you guys look good. Lake Webster, you guys are okay. But still, don't go out on the water right now. There is some lightning within the storm as well. Never a good idea to be out on the water during thunderstorms. Terrible, terrible idea. So do stay off the water for a little bit longer yet. If you guys are boating in the area, we do have some active lightning in the area with this storm as well. Penny-sized hail also being recorded within this storm. Hail is not really a big hazard here today. We have really warm air aloft. It's really helping prevent a lot of these hailstones from reaching the ground. But we are live for this storm as it has a history of producing winds pretty strong, upwards of 60 plus miles per hour within the storm. I have a radar up behind the scenes, and right now, right about 60 miles per hour is where this storm is at, right on the Whitley County line. Severe northern Whitley County is where the strongest winds are. Kind of a new core developing in this zone as well. So the radar I have behind the scene has the strongest winds right in here, coming near the Merriam area, State Road 9 corridor. Going to be coming pretty close to you guys as well. So maybe getting close to the Churubusco area as well. We do have, I believe, Channel Lake State Park is up in this area as well. So if there's any boaters or fishermen out in the lakes at Channel Lake State Park, now's a good time to get to your storm shelters within the state park up in this area. I believe that's up in this area as well. So again, into your room away from windows until the storm has passed. But we do have one severe thunderstorm warning here in the state of Indiana at this point in time. Does have a history of producing winds over 60 miles per hour. That is why we are live here for the storm. Have another strong storm, northern Allen County, north of Leo Cedarville. But at this point in time, no severe thunderstorm warning for it. Emergency alert systems going off in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yeah, you're in the severe thunderstorm warning. However, Fort Wayne, Indiana, downtown Fort Wayne, you guys are in the clear for this storm. You guys are not at risk for this severe thunderstorm warning at this point in time. But we do have one cell here Pretty strong, just to the east of North Webster, and we do have that measured report. Um, just to the north and west of North Webster. Pretty decent core on it here. Just to the south of Wolf Lake here in northern Whitley County is where the strongest winds are at this point in time. Winds up to 60 miles per hour and penny size hail here associated with this thunderstorm. Kind of playing around with a couple outflow boundaries on it as well. Um, So that could help bring some gusty winds down to the surface as well. So something to keep an eye on. Looking around the region, though, not too many thunderstorms left in Indiana. The atmosphere has been allowed to stabilize here this afternoon, bringing our thunderstorm threat to an end here. Here pretty early here this afternoon. This storm, however, does have a history of producing some pretty strong winds, and the radar is also pretty low here as well. This storm has a measured um, 67-mile-per-hour wind gust was measured here on a weather station just to the north of New Paris, that's north of Syracuse, a little while ago. So this storm does mean business, and it is a pretty healthy-looking storm on radar as well. Penny size hail 60 is what it's warned for, but there could be a few embedded stronger wind gusts within this storm as well. This is their only warning here in Indiana. If you guys are south of Indianapolis or really anywhere outside of this box, you guys are not in a concern at this point in time, so no need to worry. This storm is going to be moving towards the Churubusco area and Green Center, right along US 33 here, north of US 30. But downtown Fort Wayne, you guys are not in the risk of this severe thunderstorm. The severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for another 19 minutes here until 4:45 p.m. Severe thunderstorm was located near Tri Lakes, moving east at only 30 miles per hour, not moving very fast. This does include severe northwestern Allen County, northeastern Indiana, southern Noble County, and northern Whitley County, northeast Indiana, until 4:45 p.m. Strongest core right now is on the Noble County Whitley County line, just to the east or west of Merriam, Indiana. Is where the strongest core is right now. The storm has a history of producing wind gusts in excess of 67 miles per hour. That's very strong winds, likely some tree damage up in here around the Syracuse area earlier this afternoon from this storm as it moved through, but still posing to have a potent gust front on it, which is why we are live here to cover this severe thunderstorm warning. Right now, the strongest winds on the radar I have up behind the scenes. This is a little bit behind, but the strongest winds are right about in here in southern Noble County is where we're looking at here for the strongest winds. Going to be coming into Merriam, Indiana here, right along US 33 over the next couple of minutes or so, showing signs of some pretty strong winds in this vicinity here. Going to go just south of Channel Lake State Park for the strongest winds, at least on radar. But again, a lot of lightning in the area as well. So if you're at the campground or watching from Channel Lakes, I would get into storm shelters and not be out on the trails or the lakes at this point in time until this storm has passed. If we turn on our hail tracker here, go ahead and take a look here at our hail tracker. Not really a lot of hail in this, maybe some pea-sized hail. And same thing with this cell in the DeKalb Allen County line here, just to the southeast of Garrett, north of Leo and Cedarville, showing a nice little hail core on it. But damaging winds, primary risk here for this severe thunderstorm warning. The one over here in the DeKalb Allen County line here, not really severe. Don't really see a lot of winds on it. Maybe some gusty winds right in the core, just to the east of I-69 south of Auburn. But your strongest storm is back here near Merriam in southern Noble County, Indiana, just to the northwest of Churubusco. Churubusco just had an outflow boundary come through. Could have some gusty winds on that as well, but your strongest winds are back here to the west, crossing State Road 9 and US 33 at this point in time. Strongest winds maybe going just to the south of Merriam, right on the Whitley-Noble County line, just north of Cresco near Tri Lakes, coming near Blue Lake and Churubusco. The storm is moving off to the east-southeast at about 30 miles per hour. There's a new scan of it here. Really nice concentrated area of pretty strong winds here, right over State Road 9, just south of Merriam. So nice protruded out front on this storm, showing you a nice gust front, likely a really strong downburst ongoing here on the southeastern flank of this storm. So damaging winds is your primary risk here, up to 60 miles per hour. Could have some winds higher than that as well. We've had reports up to 67 miles per hour measured within the storm as it was a little bit younger off to its west. So it is a pretty strong thunderstorm and one that should be taken seriously. If you're in southern Noble County, northern Whitley County, or perhaps northwestern Allen County as well, from the Churubusco area. Huntertown not included in a severe thunderstorm warning, but you'll have to keep an eye on this storm as well, as it is headed off in your direction, off to the east-southeast at 30 miles per hour. So I have to keep an eye on you, Huntertown, if the storm holds together. But downtown Fort Wayne, you guys are in the clear. No immediate threat to you guys at this point in time. If you're inside the 469, I-69 corridor there, you guys are okay at this point in time. Right now, strongest winds right in here on the Noble Whitley County line, moving near Tri Lakes, coming near Blue Lake and Churubusco in Merriam here. It's in Merriam right now, heading towards Churubusco here in the next few minutes or so, with the strongest winds going close, if not just on the north side of town. We did have a confirmed wind gust of up to 67 miles per hour near New Paris, just south of the Goshen area from the same storm only a little while ago. So less than about 30 minutes ago, we had that confirmed report up there. So if you guys are up in that area, have any damage, do let us know what you see there. Right now, the strongest core, really healthy core on this storm as well. If we zoom in, it's right on Baseline Road, 600, 700 north here, just right in the Tri Lakes here, getting a very nice gust front here coming into town of Tri Lakes, just to the north and west of Churubusco. A really nice core on this storm as well. Go ahead and turn on Hail Tracker here just to see if our updraft intensified. It did just a little bit. Now, this is a little bit behind here. This orange box is likely right here where you see the pink, just south of Merriam. This usually lags behind just a little bit, but probably some pea-sized hail or maybe penny-sized hail working its way down to the ground within this core. But still a really nice, healthy gust front, likely a microburst or downburst going on within this thunderstorm. Warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-sized hail, but there could be a few isolated pockets of winds stronger than 60 miles per hour working their way down to the ground. We did have that confirmed report to 67. On our other radar product, pull up here behind the scenes, winds are right around the 60-mile-per-hour mark, right near the Tri Lakes area. Just as this radar here is showing, you can see some brighter pixels mixed in here, some brighter pinks. That would be where your pockets of 60-mile-per-hour winds are, perhaps mixing their way down to the ground. And also, near zero visibility is occurring within any of these thunderstorms here today. Extremely heavy rainfall rates, up to 2 inches plus an hour in some of these cores. So torrential rainfall is occurring, and these storms are slow movers. They're not moving much faster than 30 miles per hour. And anytime you have rainfall rates over 2 inches an hour on a very slow moving storm, that just increases the risk for ponding, excessive rainfall, and hydroplaning on the roadways as well. US 33, a pretty busy highway here in northern Indiana. So again, slow down, headlights on, and increase your following distance as you're traveling through this thunderstorm. And turn your hazard lights on if you have to as well, to let other motorists know your location on the roadway. So do take this storm seriously. It is a pretty strong storm. No hail in this. There is maybe some pea-sized hail, but no severe hail. Wind and torrential rainfall is really the main hazards here within this thunderstorm. A pretty potent thunderstorm as well. Looking around the region, this is our only severe thunderstorm warning in Indiana. South of Indianapolis, not a lot going on. We had some thunderstorms earlier this afternoon. Those have since dissipated and moved off to the east. We have a lot of activity going on to our neighbors to the east in Ohio. flash flood warnings and advisories for the Dayton, Ohio area if you have any friends in Dayton, Ohio. But our storm right here in question, waiting on the next scan to come on in. This is an old scan, just waiting on the new one to come in. Likely coming into Churubusco here pretty soon for the gust front on this storm. They don't have rapid radar on at this point in time. So we're waiting on that next scan to come in and load in. But right now, 60-mile-per-hour winds are likely within the core of this storm. Going to be running right down US 33 as it moves into northern Whitley County and southern Noble County, and perhaps getting into northwestern Allen County if it makes it that far east of Churubusco. But Fort Wayne area in immediate vicinity, you guys are okay. Not really in the path of this thunderstorm. This is going to go north of the city. Um, but Cedarville, Huntertown, have to keep an eye on it just in case it makes it that far. Southern DeKalb County, northern Allen County. Worth watching in case it makes it this far. Hopefully, we'll start to see a downtrend on it here. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. Here's the radar loop here. You can see it had really potent winds here mixing down at the surface near the radar. The radar beam's only a couple hundred feet off the ground here where it was first sampled. Winds around 65 miles an hour or so there as it's moving off to the south and southeast. Still showing signs of a pretty potent core on it. Just south of Merriam, south of the US 33. Still could have some gusty winds on US 33 or areas just on the north side, but the strongest core looks to be just on the south side of US 33, coming pretty close to Churubusco here in the next few minutes or so. Likely getting pretty dark, likely hearing some thunder if you're in the Churubusco area. So right in here, if I circle it, right in here, so where the strongest core is associated with your purples on reflectivity as well. Pretty heavy rain here. Again, 2 inches of rain an hour is possible here within the core, perhaps even higher rates than that. Fat raindrops today, really big, heavy raindrops associated with these storms. I'd be concerned about ponding, hydroplaning on area roadways just from excessive rainfall. Ditches fill up really quick when you have rainfall rates over 2 inches an hour. Doesn't take a lot of rain to fill up the ditches when it's that heavy. So do be cautious of that if you're driving in this area. If you guys have any damage or anything from microbursts here today, let me know what you guys have seen here today. Had a lot of reports on microbursts in the area here today and yesterday, and really over the past 3 days across Indiana. We did have that measured report just south of the Goshen area of 67 miles per hour from the same thunderstorm about 30 minutes ago. Produced a measured wind gust of 67. That is close to a considerable warning. We had a baseline severe thunder. We actually had a special weather statement on it at the time, but a lot of times microbursts can occur very fast and very sudden, and the radar just is not able to pick up on that quickly for that small of an area. But microbursts can pack a punch if you happen to be right underneath of one and need to be taken seriously as well. They have known to knock trees down, power lines. They can peel roofing materials off. They can blow pole barns in. They can be quite powerful. Some microbursts can even have winds in excess of 100 miles per hour. So, on average, anywhere between 30 and probably 50 miles an hour, but they can go much stronger than that as well. Larry says starting to storm in Kokomo. Yeah, well, or is the storm coming to Kokomo? He asked. No, nope. This is going to be well off to the north. Do have a storm in Wabash County though. Not severe at this point in time. Maybe some gusty winds, but our severe thunderstorm and our only severe thunderstorm is for southern Noble County and northern Whitley County right now. Extreme northwestern Allen County is included in the warning box, but we'll have to keep an eye on that for Huntertown just in case the gusty winds make it there. Right now, based on radar, it looks like the storm is losing steam just a little bit. Gusty winds just south of the Merriam area where that core is of this thunderstorm. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it for a little while longer here. After these storms dissipate, once we lose the sunshine here today and our sun angle goes down, the thunderstorm activity will go down with it as well. We don't really expect widespread thunderstorms here this evening or tonight. Once these dissipate and we lose the sun, that air is not going to want to rise as easily as it can when you have the sunlight out. So we'll likely lose our pop up thunderstorms here this evening. Looking ahead for tomorrow, though, kind of a similar scenario that we have here today. Some pop-up showers and thunderstorms are possible throughout the state. Shouldn't be quite as bad in terms of microbursts tomorrow, but there is still always that risk for an isolated microburst or two in any pop-up thunderstorm when you have this pattern set up. So typical lifespan of these thunderstorms or pop-up thunderstorms is typically about 30 minutes or less. This storm here has been alive a little bit longer than that, so it's a little bit better organized than some of its other neighbors. But ordinary cell thunderstorms is what they're called. Pop-up thunderstorms typically don't have a long life cycle. They grow, they pop up, they rain, they hail, and they dissipate pretty quickly, all within about 30 to 35 minutes or so. This severe thunderstorm warning does expire here in 4 minutes. We'll have to see if they reissue that or not. Strong there for a little bit when this warning was first issued. Winds were bordering 60, 65 miles per hour with that measured wind gust up to 67 miles per hour south of the Syracuse area. So this storm has produced significant wind gusts here within it. Kind of gusting out now as it approaches Churubusco. Anybody watching here from Churubusco or northern Whitley County, southern Noble County? Love to see what your thoughts are and what's going on there at the ground. If anybody's watching from this area, a lot of outflow boundaries around the Fort Wayne area, southern Whitley County, maybe getting in the northwestern Huntington County. There you can see the lines on your screen. Those are outflow boundaries from downbursts that are being produced by these thunderstorms. They could spark additional showers and thunderstorms here this evening before we lose the sun. But I'd have to say severe weather from here on out is pretty low in confidence at this point in time, especially now that we're losing our sun angle. It's not quite as strong as what it once was earlier here this afternoon. And a lot of the storms have stabilized the atmosphere a little bit too, making it even more difficult for new storms to get up. So this severe thunderstorm warning is for northern Whitley County, southern Noble County, and extreme northwestern Allen County for a few more minutes here. Winds of 60 mile per hour and penny size hail. We did have that report of 67. That was a measured report up here south of the Syracuse, Indiana area. So this storm meant business when it was a little bit younger in its life cycle. Now it's a little bit weaker in nature, which is good to see and pretty typical to see. But this storm has a history of producing pretty strong damaging winds up to almost 70 miles per hour within this severe thunderstorm. And that was before the warning got issued as well. So at 3:53 p.m., a measured wind gust of 67 miles per hour just south of Syracuse. So very strong winds. That was at the airport there. The Goshen Airport is where that was measured at. So pretty significant wind gust that was measured out of this storm, and that was up in here about 35 minutes ago or so. David, nope, these storms are going to stay in Indiana, eventually going into Ohio. Looking up north, he was asking about Hillsdale. Not really any rain up in here. I'd say your storm threat is not completely over. You could still have a pop up thunderstorm or two, but nothing like we saw earlier this morning up in that area. Had quite a few thunderstorms in southern Michigan earlier today, but those storms have also helped stabilize the atmosphere like these here in northern Indiana. So we'll see if they reissue a statement or a warning here with this storm. They may drop it altogether. Looking at radar here, the storm appears to have weakened below severe criteria based on what I'm seeing here behind the scenes on radar, which is some good news. Hopefully that downtrend continues here. We'll probably pop off here once this warning. Nope, there we go. They reissued the warning here a little bit further south, 60 and 30 or 60 and penny size hail is what they rewarned this for. So getting a little bit closer to Fort Wayne, they kind of angled this down a little bit, suggesting the gust front is shifting south a little bit. Sometimes as these gust fronts come out, they can shift directions a little bit too. So they went ahead and reissued this severe thunderstorm warning here. Northern Whitley County, Southern Noble County, DeKalb County, they did not include you in the warning, but they did include northwestern Allen County once again. Huntertown, you are right on the edge, kind of splits right through town. We'll go ahead and include you in the warning. Strongest winds just off to your west near the Churubusco area at this point in time. Still leaving it at 60 miles per hour and penny size hail. Still a decent gust front on radar. Not quite as potent as what it once was, but it is there nonetheless. 60-mile-per-hour winds are definitely possible. A lot of cloud-to-ground lightning occurring within this storm as well. Torrential rainfall rates in excess of 2 inches per hour in the core of this storm. So if you're in the Merriam area, I'd be very cautious on the roadway US 33. Watch out for ponding, excessive runoff, especially on the shoulders of roads. A lot of times roadways have a hard time shedding that water when it comes down at such a velocity as this, and you can create hydrologic issues, hydroplaning issues, and stuff like that. So again, do take it slow if you're in this area. Watch out for ponding water on area roadways. Ditches fill up fast when you have rainfall rates in excess of 2 inches per hour. And we are keeping an eye on this storm here, showing a little bit more gusty winds here, perhaps north of the Largo area, north of US 24. This is central Wabash County, north of Wabash, but nice little core on that cell there. We are keeping an eye on that. Not severe at this point in time, no statements on it, but it is something worth watching. And here's a core kind of redeveloping here within this cell here, a really potent core just to the west of Churubusco as this storm is trying to reorganize once again. So a really decent core on that. We'll go ahead and turn our hail tracker back on here. I want to look at the updraft on this storm as it's reorganizing its core a little bit. So there could be additional hail. Yeah, likely some hail in this. Likely hail size may have gone up a little bit. You can see that hail core. If I press play on it, look how that just exploded again. So could have some quarter size hail if the quarters are not melting all the way to the ground. Sometimes when you have warm air events like we have today, the hailstones aloft melt a little bit on their way down to the ground. But if you get a microburst or a downburst in that, it can bring the freezing level down in the cloud a little bit too and slow that melting process down. So I would watch out for some hail within the Churubusco area, likely getting some hail, really healthy core right in here as well. So watch out for a possible downburst or a wet microburst within this storm as well. Very juiced storm rainfall rates here, probably close to 2.5 inches per hour. Very, very heavy rainfall rates here. This is what we call torrential rainfall. Limited visibility, probably near zero visibility or less than a quarter of a mile within this core as well. This is a very heavy core and likely some hail in this core as well. So if you're in the Churubusco area, Blue Lake, Indiana area, I would watch out for hail. There's probably some hail within this storm as well. If anybody's watching in the Churubusco area, do let me know what you're seeing in this area. I'd love to see your reports there. This is a very heavy thunderstorm and intensified a little bit in the last couple scans as well. Interacting with a couple outflow boundaries and a couple cell mergers as well likely led to its re-intensification, gave it another DeWalt battery, as you say, just a little bit energized here. So go ahead and turn our winds back on here to look at the core. Very, very healthy core coming into Churubusco. Likely 60-mile-per-hour winds coming into town. A very heavy downdraft, downburst coming into town, the downtown Churubusco. Likely seeing until this storm has passed. A pretty potent storm now moving into town. And something else I want to look at here, I want to look at our correlation coefficient. This helps look for anomalies in the air. Yeah, there's your spatter spike right in here. So this storm is producing hail, likely some quarter size hail being reported within this storm, confirmed by correlation coefficient. Not only is this tool good for looking at debris like for tornadoes, we can also use it to look at hail. It picks up anomalies in the atmosphere of different sizes and moving at different velocities, and the radar interprets that as hail. And that is what we see here. This is what we call a spatter spike moving into Churubusco. So quarter size hail likely occurring here within the storm, or perhaps even a few larger stones as well. This is a pretty potent storm. A lot of times, downdrafts in the storm can lower the freezing level closer to the ground, and that can help slow down the melting point and allowing some hailstones to work their way down to the ground. And that's what we're seeing here. So they may up the warning to quarter size hail. Wouldn't be surprised to see the warning get upgraded. Not so much for wind, but for hail. Wind, though, pretty potent gust front. Really likely a strong downburst or microburst occurring within the storm near Churubusco. 60-mile-per-hour winds, maybe even a little bit stronger in the core as well. It's hard to tell with microbursts. Just as the prefix micro means, it's small. It's very isolated in nature, only a few miles in diameter. But these downdrafts can be very potent. They can pack a punch, and they can down trees and power lines as well. So if you're in Churubusco, I would be in a sturdy structure, interior room away from windows until this storm has passed, showing signs. Quarter size hail, I'd say probably likely within this storm. Waiting on the next scan for correlation coefficient here, just to tell me what the hail size is going to be on our radar products here behind the scenes. Right now, around quarter size hail looks to be the most likely size of the hailstones coming into Churubusco. A very, very heavy thunderstorm here. This will likely impact portions of northwest Allen County. Downtown Fort Wayne, you look to be okay right now. I have to make sure this storm doesn't continue to shift south, but right now it looks to stay in the northwest Allen County. So downtown Fort Wayne, keep an eye on it, but right now not in immediate danger from this storm here in northern and northeast Whitley County. Right now, the strongest portion of the storm is solely in northeast Whitley County. Southern Noble County, right on the northern fringes of this cell, getting into some heavy rain, lightning, maybe some small hail, with the strongest core of the storm moving right into Churubusco, Indiana. Right on the Allen County, Whitley County line here is where the strongest core is of this storm. If we turn on our hail tracker here, our correlation coefficient here, we'll show you that spatter spike that's on radar. This is a little bit behind. It's likely moved closer to the Blue Lake area. Blue Lake, Indiana is probably in the hail core right now. I would have to assume Blue Lake's in the core right now, getting very close to Churubusco. This is just a little bit behind, but right here is where your hailstones are, which match up really well with your deeper reflectivity on reflectivity here. Really indicative of some hail falling here. Still warned for penny and 60, but there's likely some quarters falling in there. A little bit broader of a spatter spike there, but still there nonetheless. Still some hail likely within this. If we turn on our vertical integrated liquid, still has a pretty decent updraft on it as well. A little bit behind there, but still pretty potent nonetheless. Turn on our reflectivity. Yeah, very strong winds here within the core of this storm. Looking to go right over Churubusco, Indiana, crossing State Road 205 and US 33 is where this core is going. A pretty potent core as well. Likely quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds associated with this storm as well, as indicated on radar. The warning still hasn't been upgraded to quarters, but I would have to assume there's a few quarters mixing their way down, especially from Tri Lakes to Blue Lake. Likely a few quarters working their way down to the ground. This is for northeast Whitley County and northwest Allen County. The strongest portion of the storm is south of Noble County now. Very strong winds here, likely getting upwards of 65 plus miles per hour. A very intense downburst ongoing over Churubusco right now. This is a very intense storm. Likely winds close to 65 miles per hour, if not perhaps even a little bit stronger here. Kind of re-energized a little bit. And now we have a new downburst ongoing here directly over Churubusco, if not on the south side of town. Very strong winds where you see the pinks there. Likely 60, 65 miles per hour, not out of the question here. Likely going to have some tree damage here near Churubusco, maybe some roof damage as well. So again, interior room, away from windows until the storm has passed. This is a pretty strong storm here. Very, very strong winds. In fact, near 70 miles an hour. Close. Actually, we're getting a few pings of about 1,000 feet off the ground here, about 80 miles an hour. So pretty strong storm. 80-mile-per-hour winds probably not making their way down to the ground, but 70-mile-per-hour winds likely. In fact, this warning has been upgraded to a considerable warning. 70-mile-per-hour winds now being reported within this storm. A severe thunderstorm was located over Churubusco, moving southeast or moving east at 15 miles an hour. Still a slow mover. 70-mile-per-hour winds now ongoing within this storm. Right over Churubusco. This is a very intense microburst, a very intense downdraft within this storm. This is a significant storm. Again, interior room away from windows until the storm has passed. Moving right over US 33. Going to go likely just right next to Huntertown, maybe just to the south of Huntertown is where this core is going. But again, Huntertown, Heller's Corner, Dunn Mill, I would be in your interior room away from windows. This is a considerable severe thunderstorm warning, 70-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. They kept the hail size at pennies, but I think there was a few larger stones mixing their way down around the Blue Lake area and even Tri-Lake areas a little while ago. Likely going to see some significant tree damage here on the south side of town of Churubusco, if not in Churubusco. For reference here, this is near the factory here on the south side of town. Your McDonald's just to the north, and your Magic Burger would be right up here, going right over kind of that area. If you're familiar with this area, that's kind of what you're looking at here and where this core is going over where the Magic Burger would be and where your factory would be on the south side of town as well. I think there's maybe even an animal shelter here on the south side too. That's kind of the vicinity of where this microburst is going, where this downburst is going on the south side of town. So again, interior room away from windows until this storm has passed. Very, very strong storm. They've upgraded the warning to considerable. That's a level 2 out of 3. It goes baseline severe at 60 miles per hour, 58 or greater actually. And once we reach 70 miles per hour, it's upgraded to considerable. And if we get to 80 miles an hour, that's a destructive warning, which is a level 3 out of 3. So this is the level 2 out of 3 considerable severe thunderstorm warning. So a very serious situation, a very dangerous situation as well. Zero visibility within the core. You're not going to see very far. That's how dangerous these storms are. Likely a little bit of a split in the updraft here too, but still showing a pretty nice, healthy updraft here within the core of the storm. Correlation coefficient, a little bit old, still waiting on the new scan, but still showing a little bit of perhaps a spatter spike in there. Some hail is what that is indicating within this storm. Very potent straight line wind event. Let up in Churubusco, but areas to the south and southeast. Radar showing winds in excess of 75 miles an hour over a very narrow area. So again, very, very intense microburst here over Churubusco. So interior room away from windows until this storm has passed. This is a slow mover too. That's what makes this storm even more dangerous. Those of you in the microburst are going to be in the microburst for a while. So this is a very intense storm. This is a considerable severe thunderstorm warning. Likely going to go just north of downtown Fort Wayne. I would say if you're in Fort Wayne or downtown area, you guys are okay right now. It's worth keeping an eye on. This storm could continue to shift south, but areas in northern Allen County are at greatest risk here. From Heller's Corner, Churubusco right now, Dunn Mill running right down US 33. Likely going to go near Huntertown or just to the south of Huntertown for a considerable severe thunderstorm warning, 70-mile-per-hour winds. And there might even be a few instances of stronger winds than that. Radar is showing very intense winds, perhaps over 70 miles per hour. It's hard to gauge on how strong they are because of how narrow this downburst is and how localized it is. But it can be very intense, very potent, likely winds at least 70 miles an hour, if not perhaps even a little bit stronger in the center of that core, just on the south side of Churubusco, on the south side of town. So a very intense storm here. Almost kind of has that supercell look to it as well, kind of interacting with a couple outflow boundaries. And likely these outflow boundaries are playing a role in the storm's intensity as well. They can add a wind shear component to the atmosphere and likely giving this storm a little bit more fuel to work with, a little bit more ingredients to work with that the other storms around it just don't have. There's our latest scan there. A little bit weaker on reflectivity, on velocity. That's good. Still likely some strong winds though near Heller's Corner and areas just to the north. Churubusco still in the core. A little bit of this thunderstorm, still a considerable severe thunderstorm warning. If you press play here, you can see that microburst or downburst take place. Boom, there it is, just south of Churubusco, and still some strong winds just on the north side of Heller's Corner. And this, due to the small size of the microburst, it's really hard for radar to gauge how strong it really is. But this definitely has that supercell look to it. Doesn't mean we're going to get a tornado or anything like that. Nothing about this is tornadic, but it definitely shows signs of being an organized storm, something that other storms around it just don't have. And that's likely because of outflow boundaries. Outflow boundaries can add a wind shear component in the atmosphere, and they can aid in storm organization and storm development as well. So it is worth keeping an eye on, as we do still have that level 2 out of 3 severe thunderstorm warning, 70-mile-per-hour winds, and penny-size hail. Likely the strongest winds right now are between Churubusco and Heller's Corner. A little bit of a clear slot going on here. But there's still likely some pretty strong winds within this storm as well. Likely quite a bit of damage. I'll have to look to see if there's any power outages being reported in the area yet. There's likely going to be some. Nothing that has populated in just yet. Might still be too new, or maybe hopefully there isn't any. Best case scenario there. But the strongest portion of the microburst went just on the south side of Churubusco. Think downtown and south, where your Magic Burger is, and McDonald's is here, your factory right in here. That's really where the microburst occurred at, with strongest winds fanning out from in all directions from there. On top of that, there was also likely some hail within this storm as well, up to quarter size. The warning said penny, but we did have a spatter spike that was brief on the west side of town, indicating that your freezing level went down just a little bit. And sometimes microbursts and downbursts can bring hail that's aloft and bring it down to the ground. So it can lower the freezing level in the cloud to help those hailstones fall down to the ground and not melt before reaching the ground. So there's likely some hail that went to the ground as well. Anytime you have 70-mile-per-hour winds and hail, no matter how large the hail is, whether it's penny-sized hail or quarter-sized hail, if you have wind-driven hail at 70-plus miles an hour, you're likely going to have some pings of dents just from the hailstones. It's like having marbles chucked at you at 70 miles an hour. It's going to hurt. It doesn't feel good. So you're likely going to have some damage thereof from that. Still a considerable severe thunderstorm warning here for 13 more minutes. 70-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. Strongest winds right on top of US 33. It's really been tracking just to the south and along US 33, south of Churubusco, and this is moving to the south and east at about 15 miles per hour. Not very fast. It's a very slow mover, but 70-mile-per-hour winds are no joke. We're going to have to keep an eye on this as well. As you press play here, you can see how it just looks more organized right over Churubusco, likely thanks to these outflow boundaries. You can see these lines here. I'll highlight them for you. We have an outflow boundary here and an outflow boundary here. These intersected near Churubusco, likely energizing the storm and giving it more ingredients to work with, and giving it a dose of fresh air, more unstable air being fed into it. It likely played a role in the intensification, rapid intensification of this thunderstorm as well. Looking at reflectivity now, it doesn't look quite as organized as what it did maybe 5 minutes ago, but there still could be damaging winds left over within the core of the storm as well. It's just hard to tell due to how isolated microbursts and downbursts are. It's very hard for the radar to pick up on that, but likely just had a significant microburst south of Churubusco, 70 to perhaps even 80 miles an hour possible within that storm. It was a very significant downburst, a very localized downburst, but nonetheless appeared to be very significant as well. So if you have anybody in extreme northeast Whitley County, northwest Allen County, heads up for that storm as well. And also, speaking of microbursts, maybe a little downburst in north central Wabash County. Special weather statement for an hour for 50-mile-per-hour winds, pea-size hail, likely the strongest winds right in there, just north of Largo. See some brighter reflectivity there, close to severe criteria, but not quite there. Just a little bit shy, 8-mile-per-hour shy to be precise, 58 or greater is severe criteria. Still a considerable warning here for 11 more minutes, 70-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. Significant thunderstorm here um, that impacted the Churubusco area. Still waiting on our next scan here. Definitely still has that look to it for an organized storm of what you want to see. Just waiting on our next scan here to give us what the winds are doing and reflectivity here. But if you guys are traveling on US 33, I would watch out for tree damage along US 33 near Churubusco. Still a little bit of a spatter spike, kind of in the northwest Allen County line, kind of where the core is of this storm. I'll go ahead and turn that on here for you, see if it's uploaded on this product. I have another product running here behind the scenes. Yeah, right in there, Allen County, Noble County line is kind of where the hail core is now. It kind of shifted north just a little bit. You can see that with your brighter reflectivity too, near the edge area. Go ahead and turn on our correlation coefficient. There it is. A little bit of a spatter spike, perhaps near the Erie area. State Road 205, maybe a little bit of a hail core in there, perhaps. We're going to have to keep an eye on that as well. The core of this storm seemed to have shifted north. But we're going to have to keep an eye on that as it redevelops and evolves here over the next few minutes as well. Still have that considerable warning in place. If anybody's watching from the Churubusco area, I'd love to know what happened there as well. I'm going to update something here on the page here real quick, so bear with me. 70-mile-per-hour winds don't appear to be occurring anymore at this point in time. Microbursts are very localized and they're short-lived. Thankfully, they're short-lived, but boy, can they pack a punch, as we just saw there near Churubusco. Let me just update something here real quick. So considerable warning still in effect here for another 8 minutes here, 70-mile-per-hour winds. The good news is the microbursts look to have ended. If you press play here on radar, you kind of see the evolution of this downburst that occurred. You can see it start over here just south of Blue Lake before ending on the southeast side of Churubusco. It peaked right on top of US 33. Right there is where it peaked between State Road 205 and US 33 here on the south side of town. Likely some significant winds occurred in this vicinity here, only a couple miles in diameter, but likely perhaps winds upwards of 70, 75 miles an hour, perhaps even a little bit stronger on the south side of Churubusco there within this storm. So that was a very intense downburst, a very strong downburst, and also had a little bit of a cell merger there too. You can kind of see where this storm merged into it, also likely aiding in the intensification process of that storm as well. So they're not going to reissue a severe thunderstorm warning for Allen County. Looks like they're going to go ahead and issue a special weather statement. Winds are still strong. Winds of 50 to 55 miles per hour and pea-sized hail. That is areas of north of downtown Fort Wayne. So downtown, they did kind of include you in the box, but this storm looks to go just on the north side of downtown, closer to the DuPont Road area is where this would be going near. You got the Parkview up there. I-4 69 interchange is where this would be going from. I think like maybe Illinois Road North is kind of where the special weather statement is, or perhaps I guess Coliseum Boulevard there in US 30. The Goshen exit on 69 and north is primarily probably the best area for concern for this storm here, impacting northern Allen County here. But one thing to note, the core did shift north, so it is something to keep an eye on here as well for southern DeKalb County, south of the Garrett area. You'd have to keep an eye on that for heavy rain and maybe some hail as well. But the good news is 70-mile-per-hour winds don't look to be a thing anymore. They're probably going to let this severe thunderstorm warning expire as a considerable warning. Um, but that was a very intense thunderstorm and had a history of also producing significant wind gusts within the storm. About an hour ago, um, up here in Elkhart County, south of for the Goshen Airport, measured a wind gust of 67 miles per hour. That was a measured wind gust south of Goshen, and here it did a repeat near Churubusco, perhaps even stronger than that. That would be near 70 plus miles per hour in a localized area on the south side of Churubusco. Very intense winds a few minutes ago. Luckily, this storm has weakened a little bit, but still has that considerable warning in effect for 5 more minutes. They're going to let that expire and let the special weather statement take over. Does expire here in 20 minutes for winds of 50 to 55. County, Indiana. Downtown Fort Wayne, keep an eye on it. But I think the core of this storm is going to go north of Fort Wayne. But you could have some gusty outflow winds, winds not associated with the storm, but from the storm, that could be quite gusty in downtown Fort Wayne. Actually, the outflow boundary is coming into Fort Wayne right now. Right in here, you can kind of see this line here. Likely some rain cooled air moving into downtown. You're going to feel the temperature drop in downtown Fort Wayne. Maybe winds to 30 miles per hour, perhaps within this outflow boundary as it moves through town. We are going to have to watch this core here moving on the north side of Huntington, Indiana, along US 24. Maybe a little downburst occurring in there, but you can see it has an outflow boundary of its own. Rain cooled air being pushed out ahead and away from the storm. Could have some gusty winds before you see rain. In a lot of these situations, the winds pick up before you have any precipitation fall, as these outflow boundaries or gust fronts get pushed out ahead of the storm. So I have to keep an eye on this as well. A lot of outflow boundaries. A complex of things kind of went on to allow this storm to get that strong there. Had what we call a cell merger, had another cell kind of merge with their parent cell. And at the same time, it was also interacting with some outflow boundaries at the surface, while possibly having some dry air interact with it as well. So a lot of things probably happened all at once to allow that microburst to become that strong at that one point near Churubusco. Winds perhaps 70, 75 plus miles per hour in that localized area. This considerable severe thunderstorm warning will expire here in 3 minutes, and they're going to let this special weather statement take over. As for right now, they're not reissuing a severe thunderstorm warning as the storm has weakened below severe criteria. Thankfully, weakening below severe criteria. We'll have to keep an eye on it to make sure it does not re-intensify to what it once was. The good thing about microbursts are typically once you have a downburst, the storm is on the downtrend. You're going to see a weakening phase as the storm kind of gave out a big last breath as the storm begins to collapse. Now, it could re-intensify. We've seen that with this storm, and only time will tell. There's really no rhyme or reason to say it will or won't. It's really just up to the dynamics of the storm and the internal mechanics of the storm. What's going on? Is it choking on its own rain-cooled air? Is it still taking in warm, unstable air? That's all will determine how strong the storm is able to go and will be as it moves into northern Allen County and continues to track across northern Allen County and southern Noble and DeKalb County as well, getting in on some rain from this storm. Another gusty storm north of Huntington, though, likely getting into some torrential rainfall and also some gusty winds, perhaps too, right along US 24 north of Huntington and Huntington County, Indiana. So quite a few things going on here. We got 1 more minute left on our severe thunderstorm warning before we are back in all clear mode with just special weather statements. I'm going to have to keep an eye. We'll stay on here a little bit longer just to keep an eye on this storm to make sure it doesn't re-intensify once again. This was a very intense storm and has a history of producing significant wind gusts, 60 mile per hour plus. Have that measured report at the Goshen Airport for 67 miles per hour about an hour ago. And then here we have just south of Churubusco, likely winds estimated by radar to be 70 plus miles an hour. Perhaps maybe even stronger than 75. There's really no way to know, but there's likely some damage there on the south side of Churubusco from that downburst or microburst. Our severe thunderstorm warning is getting ready to expire here in less than a minute. Sounds like power is out within Churubusco, is word on the street. Um, can't confirm that yet, but it sounds like there is some power outages on the south side of Churubusco being reported. And there is our severe thunderstorm warning expiring, and we are just down to 2 special weather statements. But it does sound like power is out in Churubusco. Not surprised to see that. That was a heck of a microburst there. Go ahead and look at our power outage map here to see if any power outages are being reported there. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for those outages to get reported. Go ahead and take a look here. So far, 81 customers in Whitley County. That number has increased in the last few minutes. We'll have to see if that number increases once again or not. But we do have spotty outages as well. 168 customers are out in Pulaski County, Indiana, likely from storms earlier today, perhaps, or planned outage. Didn't say. But this storm is not quite as intense as what it once was. Likely some rain-cooled air from an outflow boundary moving over Fort Wayne. Probably feels pretty good in downtown Fort Wayne right now. Have some lower humidity on the way behind this outflow boundary. Maybe a little bit of rain and thunder, perhaps. I'll have to watch this storm in Huntington County as it may impact the Fort Wayne area, or perhaps a little bit of a line near Columbia City, but not severe at this point in time. But did produce a very dangerous microburst on the south side of Churubusco, if not downtown. The strongest portion of the microburst appeared to be on the south side of Churubusco, like where the Magic Burger is, the McDonald's, your factory there on the south side of town. That appeared, based on radar, where the strongest microburst looked to have occurred. But still waiting on some reports of damage from that area. Speaking of damage, if you guys have any tree damage or roof damage, get a hold of Ruchter's services based out of Indianapolis. I know we're in Fort Wayne, but they're based in the Indianapolis area, 317-665-3964. They can handle any tree damage needs that you may have. And if your roof gets damaged, have some shingles blown off, or need a new roof, get a hold of Micheli's Corporation out of Indianapolis, 317-251-1935, or micheli'scorp.com. They can help you out, and they're proud sponsors of this live stream here today. So feel free to give them a shout out, give them a like on their Facebook, and if you have any tree needs or roofing needs, give them a call. They'll be happy to talk to you. Back to radar here. Nice little gust front on the north side of Huntington, running right along US 24 and on the north side. Like some gusty winds in Huntington. Back to Fort Wayne, Indiana. A little bit of a gust front coming through town. This is an outflow boundary. You may have seen winds pick up, and may have seen kind of turbulent clouds too. Maybe some rolling clouds, perhaps, there on the north side of Fort Wayne, or really downtown Fort Wayne. Might have some cool clouds rolling over. It probably feels pretty good too. Likely have that outflow boundary coming over, and a little bit of what we call a whale's mouth actually coming. I have a camera pulled up on I-69 looking to the southwest, and kind of have almost like a roll cloud, not really a roll cloud, but an extended shelf cloud. I don't think I'm able to share it with you here on this screen. Might not let me with the setup I have right now, but pretty cool clouds moving over the Fort Wayne area right now. Kind of a bit of a shelf cloud or roll cloud kind of feature to it, as that rain cooled air gusts out ahead of the main thunderstorm. But the air is probably feeling a lot better in Fort Wayne, if I had to guess. Anytime you get one of these outflow boundaries to come over, they act as mini cold fronts at the surface. And they can really cool the air down and they knock the humidity out too, which is great. It feels great, but it's probably going to heat back up again before evening and the humidity will come back up. But temporary relief is great and it's better than no relief. If I had to guess, any relief is better than no relief when dew points are in the upper 70s today. In fact, dew points were near 78 in northern Indiana this afternoon, which is just downright horrible. When you have air temperatures in the low 90s with heat indexes near 103, 105, which is why the National Weather Service had the heat advisories in place today. It was hot, and these storms are helping cool the air down. Unfortunately, though, did likely cause some significant damage, though, near the Churubusco area, northeast Whitley County. Winds a little while ago, near 70 miles an hour plus for that area. Very, very intense winds there. Sounds like lots of trees down in the Churubusco area. So if you guys have storm reports or anything, you guys are welcome to send us a message and let us know what is going on. So stay on here just a couple more minutes here, um, just to watch these storms here as they move into southern Allen County out of northern Huntington County, and watching these storms here north of Fort Wayne. Special weather statements on both of these. The special weather statement expires in 9 minutes. Wind gusts of 50 to 55 miles an hour, so just below severe criteria. Probably the strongest winds up in here just south of Huntertown, coming near the Leo Cedarville area. Maybe some gusty winds. Kind of see heavy rain and gusty winds there with that. For northern Huntington County, winds up to 50 miles per hour and pea-size hail. Strongest winds right looking at these storms, they really don't look too impressive anymore. And even hitting pressing play, these storms are starting to gust out, become outflow dominant. Especially your northern storm. Your northern storm north of Fort Wayne, Allen County, has weakened significantly. Is weakened quite a bit. Your storm in Huntington County weakening quite a bit as well. Special weather statement on that as well. Probably going to go ahead and hop off. We'll monitor radar here behind the scenes, and if we have another significant severe thunderstorm, as we did in Whitley County, we'll come back on and cover that in detail from beginning to end. Hopefully, we don't see any microbursts to that extent here tonight um, for the remainder of the evening. If you guys, yeah, yes, thanks, Stormlord. I saw that. I'm not really sure what's going on my end. I do have some storms in my area. We run Starlink internet here, so sometimes if you have high cloud tops, it can interfere with the satellite connectivity, so that can impede our streaming abilities here sometimes. So I'm not sure why it cut out there. I apologize about that. For those of you that didn't hear me there as I was talking, watching a heavy core north of Huntington and a core near the Leo Cedarville area, these storms have weakened quite a bit, which is some good news. Probably the strongest storm of the two is actually the one in northern Huntington County. This storm may be trying to regroup a little bit. We'll see on here for a few more minutes just to keep an eye on them. But right now they are showing signs of being on the weaker side. So hopefully that trend continues. But again, very strong winds um, near the Churubusco area. Sounds like power outages. Um, Still trying to get some footage from Churubusco. Nothing has been sent in. I've get a lot of reports of tree damage, but I wish someone could send me a picture so I could share with you guys what is actually going on there. And somebody's got to have a camera up there, right? Yeah, likely a nice shelf cloud there. I see Easton said shelf cloud at the GM plant. That's yeah, right here. Right, you see an outflow boundary coming over. That's rain cooled air. There's really been an extended shelf cloud all along this boundary here as rain cooled air gets pushed out ahead of the thunderstorm. So what we call likely a whale's mouth, where you have a shelf cloud followed by kind of turbulent billowing clouds underneath of it, maybe a few sprinkles. But it looks real turbulent, but it feels fantastic underneath. The humidity goes away. You get a light breeze, knocks your temperatures down by 10 degrees or more, and it just feels great. Do have some rain though coming into the Summit City here, though. Looking at the south side near the Aboit area north of Huntington, have a heavy thunderstorm here. Maybe some gusty winds here, State Road 9 area coming near Roanoke. So coming towards the GM plant where you have that shelf cloud. Likely some heavy rain just to your southeast. Gonna have to watch this outflow boundary though, as you have a northbound outflow boundary and an eastbound outflow boundary kind of merging together here. We'll have to see what that does here with this thunderstorm. Sometimes I can interact with these storms, give them a little bit of a boost. We'll have to see how that interacts here. For that reason, we're not going to hop off quite yet. I want to see how these outflow boundaries interact with these storms before we do. Sometimes that can enhance a thunderstorm as well. So we are going to stay on here for that. But if you guys have any storm reports or anything like that, feel free to send us a message. You can send us a DM or go to our storm reports page, Indiana Storm Reports. Feel free to report it. Sounds like multiple reports of trees down though in the Churubusco area. Not surprised to see that. Yeah, Suzanne, if you're on US 30 going to Churubusco, watch out for trees on the road. Likely, if you're just tuning in, a considerable severe thunderstorm warning in that area. Had a strong microburst south side of town, likely of 70 plus mile per hour winds on the south side of Churubusco a little while ago. That's a large part of why we are live, seeing that storm intensify near North Webster, moving towards the Whitley County area, and produce a significant microburst of 70 plus miles per hour in the Busco area. So those turtles got rocked up there in Turtletown, that is for sure. So do watch for power lines and trees if you're traveling near the Churubusco area. So some gusty winds, perhaps emerging once again on the north side. This is near DuPont Road. Maybe some gusty winds here on the north side. This special weather statement does expire in 2 minutes. Have to see what they do if they extend the life of this special weather statement or what they do with that. Could still have some gusty winds on the north side of Fort Wayne, and also some gusty winds coming near the Roanoke area as well. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this as well. We'll see on here a couple more minutes here as these outflow boundaries interact with these storms here. Outflow boundaries can interact with the storms, they can enhance the storms, and they can cause storms to be quite strong as well. Um, as it was likely a combination of outflow boundaries, a storm merger, and dry air all coming together to likely produce that really strong downburst in northeast Whitley County. So we'll stay on here just for a few more minutes here to keep an eye on that. You can see a large outflow boundary now being well extended away from the storm. That is a good thing. That's going to choke off this southern cell. And with an outflow boundary out ahead of this one, too, the cells in Whitley County are likely just going to be rainmakers here This special weather statement looks like they're just going to let it expire as the storm has weakened below statement criteria. Have a heavy downpour near Marion and Grant County. Oh, they just extended it. Nothing like the last minute there. Still wind gusts of 50 to 55 miles an hour. So still strong, but it is sub-severe at this point in time. You can kind of see the brighter colors there. I wondered if they were not going to extend that. Right in there, north side of Fort Wayne, right along the DuPont area, coming near State Road 1, State Road 37, eventually maybe near the Woodburn area over the next few minutes or so. So we'll stay on here a little bit longer to watch that here before we hop off. If you guys have any questions or anything, but we do have those special weather statements still in place. Here for a few more minutes here. Give me 1 second. I do have a couple technical difficulties here. But we have two special weather statements here. Probably the strongest cell is just south of the Lee or Cedarville area, near the DuPont area right now. This southern cell appears to be weakening quite a bit. Likely going to cancel this special weather statement or at least trim it back. Nice outflow boundaries here near the GM plant, 69-469 corridor. But these storms are weakening quite a bit here. Our live stream will likely be ending here fairly soon, as these storms are still remaining below severe criteria at this point in time. Overall on radar, not as impressive as what they once were. You can see the radar loop as these storms have shrunk in size as well. Really strong winds back here near Busco. And then these have really weakened quite a bit as well. So that is some good news here. Yeah, I'm not sure what that background noise was. I know the air conditioning unit just kicked on, so it could have been that kicking on as well. But two special weather statements left. After further analysis and looking at them on our radar tools here behind the scenes, these storms have weakened quite a bit, and they don't look to be intensifying at all. Their cloud tops aren't as high anymore. Their updrafts are not as strong anymore. They're on the downtrend, so that is some good news. So we're probably going to go ahead and end the stream here. If you guys, thank you guys for watching. We'll be watching radar here behind the scenes in case any of these get an attitude once again. But now that we're losing the sun angle, there's some competition here for these storms. Now that there's outflow boundary, there's rain-cooled air out ahead of them. That is some good news going forward. So Fort Wayne, Indiana could have some rain and thunderstorms on the coming into town here in a few minutes from Whitley County and also northern Huntington County. Some of those could have some gusty winds, but these storms are below severe criteria by quite a bit at this point in time, with the strongest cell up here. Special weather statement for winds around 50 miles per hour. But looking at radar, they appear to be closer to the 40-mile-per-hour mark. Hopefully they stay that way. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and end our stream here. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be monitoring scenes behind the scenes. And if you guys have any damage reports or anything like that, feel free to send that to us and report it. And we'll see you next time.